What is up, everyone? Barricade here, and I just want to say goodbye to the Locust. If you guys haven't already heard, you know, except for Overrun and the normal game types, TDM, and the other three game types are basically just TDM, free for all, and domination. And in just those three game types, and basically any other game type that they add later on, there will be no Locust. You basically be COG versus COG. And I just want to say goodbye. But before I get into that, one thing I want to say about this this part right here in this video that's pretty hilarious is when I play with my friends, we yeah, they were a team and stuff, but the thing is we're really close. Like, it's my brother and three of my close friends. So when we play, sometimes we kind of just go on these like random tangents where we just talk about random stuff and we're not really even like paying attention to the game. And during this whole round, we're like getting trashed, like bad, like stomped. We're like, looked like we were gonna lose for sure this first round. And I don't know, one of us was like, what the, we're losing? So we start trying, and then after we start like actually like focusing, we had completely turned the whole round around, which is kind of funny because it just shows that when you're not paying attention, you can really mess up. But anyways, like I said, goodbye to the Locust. The thing that kind of makes me like mad about this is, like I said in my previous commentary, it really doesn't make sense. Like, it really doesn't. Like, they say that they're removing them to increase consistency, but the thing is, like I said before, it doesn't really add consistency. All it does is actually make it lower. It makes it lower because of the fact that when you really think about it, you put the COG and the Locust character together, they're basically the same body and everything, so, you know, why don't they just remove the Cantuses? And the thing, I don't know, I just don't really see the point of this. I think it just really, just like a horrible idea to please, you know, new players and stuff. And imagine how awesome it would have been to see a freaking Locust in these new armor skins. I don't know if you guys heard about this yet, but in Gears of War Judgment, there's going to be a lot of different things. They're going to have armor skins, like the way you put on your guns, but armor skins. I've seen like a video that some guy have leaked. Like, that's the thing, Gears of War Judgment has actually been kind of leaked already. I've seen a bunch of people post stuff on here that just kind of like random, you know, stuff that we shouldn't even be able to see yet. But I've seen skins. They have some really cool skins. You know, you can change your, you know, the color. You don't customize it. It's not like Halo where you can customize it. But you can, like, you know, there's like different ones. There's a gold one, a chrome one. There's one where you have like stripes, one where you look like a person from jail. And imagine if you could have done stuff like that for the Locust. That would have been sick, seeing that. Seeing a freaking, your favorite Locust, you know, dressed like that. And not being able to do that is kind of saddening because of the fact that they could have easily had the Locust in there. It wouldn't have made a difference. They could have just removed the Cantuses. It's, you know, because the reason why I keep saying remove the Cantuses is because of the fact that they sponge a lot. They eat a lot of shots. I've had times where I've shot a a Cantus point blank, and they just sponge the shot and then they just destroy me. And, you know, sponging is something that's in Gears no matter what character you are, but it just seems like when it comes to the Cantus and the Savage Cantus especially, it happens a lot more often. And I guess that's why they're changing it, because of that fact, but they didn't have to remove all of them. And not being able to see all the, you know, the Locusts with all these cool skins. Imagine having the armor skins for the COG and then having specifically made awesome ones for the Locust. That would have been sick, you know, maybe seeing like a, I can't really think of anything, just like a costume that's all bloody, or like, just like a really cool colored one for your Locust. Because the thing that's kind of funny is that since it's COG and COG, when they wear these skins, I think there's like a certain part of the armor that changes color. Like, maybe like if you're a blue COG, the blue stands out more, and then if you're a red COG, the red stands out more on the, you know, the armor color, on the armor skin, basically. If the Locusts were still in the game, they wouldn't have to do that at all. But you could wear the skin exactly how you want, and it wouldn't have to change color on certain parts to show the different teams. Whereas, you know, if you're the COG and the Locust, you could have had these cool specific skin for the Locust and cool specific skin for the COG, and it wouldn't have been an issue at all. And that's just kind of one thing they kind of failed on. Oh, let's add armor skins, but let's make it COG versus COG, so it's harder to tell. So we gotta make certain parts of the armor stand out in blue or red. So that was just kind of like ridiculous and pointless. Like, they could have just, I don't know. Judgment looks like an awesome game. I can't wait to try it out. I'm not hating on it yet. I really want to play it. It's going to be fun with me and my close friends trying it out. But just certain things that they changed like that was kind of just like pointless. Like, I don't get why they did that. That was just like, why, you know? To me, it just seems like they're just, like I said before, like they're just trying to get more players, which is a good thing, but taking out the Locust is kind of, like I said before, saddening, because if you played Gears since Gears 1, Locusts have been a huge thing. That's a whole part of the story, you know, COG versus Locust. And you felt that type of connection to the story when you were playing in multiplayer. At least I did, I don't know. It just felt more cooler when, you know, you're fighting a guy that's a total douchebag and he's a Locust and you're a COG and you're beating the shit out of him. And you're like, take that, you know, he's a asshole, but he's a Locust at the same time, so it kind of makes it more of a little connection. But, you know, being Marcus and, you know, shooting Anya into the face just kind of takes out that little connection in a way, you know. That's not something you really want to see. You don't want to see a freaking Marcus shooting an Anya, or a freaking, like, Marcus shooting a Dom, or a Dom shooting a Marcus, or a Cole shooting a Baird, you know, shooting their face off. Like, I know that's not too big of a deal, and it's not going to bother me that much. I'll still play the game and have fun. But, like I said, it takes out that little connection. It takes out that little connection, at least for me, I don't know. One thing I wanted to ask you guys is, what is your favorite Locust and why? My favorite Locust of all time would have to be Rom. And the reason why Rom is my favorite Locust is just because he's a freaking badass. I just love how he always looked. His armor is just like pure black. He's a big ass dude, and he will just fuck you up with his knife. He doesn't even need to use a gun. Yeah, he used the gun at the end of the first campaign, but if you see him running at you with that big ass knife, you're fucked, you know? And, you know, in multiplayer, he just looks sick. He really stood out from the other Locusts. He didn't look, you know, you could compare him to like a person playing as a drone, or person playing as a grenadier, and he just stood out way more. And that's one thing I just liked about playing as him. My friends would always have their specific Locust, and I was Rom. And I met later in the Gears 3 and stuff, I haven't really played as Rom that much. I play more as like Grenadier or like Savage Hunter, which are also my favorite Locusts as well. But deep down, Rom will always be my favorite, just because of how much of a badass he is, and how in the story he freaking controlled the Krill, something that no other Locust could ever, you know, accomplish. And just, you know, he's, you know, I just liked him. I love Rom Shadow. I love playing Rom Shadow and seeing him all, you know, crazy and beast again. Another thing I just want to get into for you guys, I want to ask real quick before the end of this video. When Gears of War Judgment comes out, you know, I'm going to get it. I already pre-ordered it. I'm going to get it on release day. But when I start making videos, I'm going to start recording, you know, as soon as possible. I'm trying to get more commentaries and stuff as much up as possible. And I'll probably even make a video about my thoughts about the game, etc. But one thing I want to ask you guys is, what do you want to see? Is there anything specific you want to see? Do you guys want to see a lot of free-for-all? Do you guys want to see a lot of overrun? Anything? You know, I'll try to... Honestly, I think I'll probably like free-for-all, because my friends aren't always on. So being able to jump into that game type by myself and not have to worry about a team will probably be pretty appealing to me. I can't wait to actually try it out. It's going to be, you know, pretty fun. You know, and honestly, I wouldn't mind making videos of it. If you noticed before, if you've been one of my old subscribers, I made a few little mini-montages here and there in Gears of War 2, but the reason why I don't really do montages or anything like that is because of the fact that my computer kind of sucks, honestly, and it's really hard to edit stuff. Like, it really lags out or glitches out, and it's just really hard to get, you know, to make a good edit. I think I can make a decent, you know, montage if I really wanted to, kind of average one, but it's just my computer just messes it up, and I don't really want to sit there and wait for it to load one little part while I'm trying to edit another part and for it to mess up. I just hate my computer. I need to get a new one. But, you know, maybe I can upload like beast clips or anything like that I get. That would be also a good idea. Basically, yeah, just basically all I just wanted to do is just basically upload, you know, commentaries, and, you know, I'll do gameplays or whatever, you know, game type you want to see. And, yeah, that's basically all I just want to do for Judgment, because Judgment looks like it's going to be a great game. If you're new to my channel, definitely please like and subscribe. I would love to have more viewers, you know, more motivation to make more videos when Judgment comes out. I'm definitely going to do gameplays and commentaries, etc. One thing I actually want to talk about real fast before the end of this video. I read somewhere that someone commented on a Judgment video saying that the reason why it's COG versus COG is supposedly it has a story like Halo 4. I don't know if you've played Halo 4, but in Halo 4, supposedly the reason why it's, you know, their Spartans are fighting is because they're Spartans training in a giant ship, and that's why they shoot each other, and they don't actually die, they're just training or something like that. Like, the multiplayer actually has a story behind it, and the reason why the cog versus the cog is because, you know, it has a story and they're fighting up again since the Locusts are gone or something like that. That's what someone said, and actually I don't believe that for a second. I think he's just kind of just basing it on an assumption, you know, because of Halo. If you guys heard anything like that, you know, please tell me in the comments. I actually want to know about, you know, I actually don't believe that's true because, you know, I've never heard anything like that. You know, I've been, you know, reading stuff up about Judgment, and I haven't heard anything like that. But yeah, anyways, you know, I'm done here. If you guys like this video, like I said before, please like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, everyone.